Hey, everybody, we'll get started in just a minute. Just want to make sure everything's up and running. If there's anybody out there, if you can hear me and see me or see me, if you could just throw a comment in, and I'm going to try to see if I can, if technology will cooperate today on this, my virgin episode of. Okay. All right. Well, hi everybody. I hope you can hear me. If you can't, I guess you won't hear me ask this, but if you can, give me a comment and let me know that you can hear and see me. Welcome to the Thirsty Professional. I'm so excited. Oh, so excited to finally be here. This is the place where we grab a bevy, grab a cuppa. I got my cuppa coffee because it's coffee weather, coffee weather. And so we grab a cup of cuppa, we ditch the BS, and we get real about careers, purpose, and fulfillment. I'm your host, Beth Ann Campbell. I go by Beth Ann, Elizabeth, if you must, never Liz. I'm a former corporate queen. Perhaps captive is a better word. I'm now a kick-ass entrepreneur. Hey, Heidi. Hey, Mark. Um, I am a kick-ass entrepreneur. I'm a speaker, author of Where the Hell is My Bacon, which is a book for people who are fed up with corporate life and who also love fried pork, which is like almost everybody. I hope you don't mind. I didn't fancy up my dress today because of this amazing sweatshirt, coffee weather, yeah, vintage store. I used to have cool stuff like this in the secondhand places. So if you are watching this on video, you will also notice that my co-host today is my lovely steampunk hat. I have worn this hat for nearly 5 years, podcast videos, graphics, etc. And I kind of set her aside a little bit earlier this year because I was pursuing, shall we say, more mainstream endeavors. But I really missed her and I wanted to pull her out for this series. And I thought she needed. So I put a poll out on LinkedIn with some options. So thank you to my LinkedIn network for voting. I really appreciate your input. And so I'm pleased to introduce you the Honorable Miss Hattie Buckle. So any of you, if you're an old Hollywood fan, that might ring a bell for you too. But fun fact, Arbuckle is a brand of coffee, grabbing your bevy, that was used in the Old West in the United States, 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s, around the steampunk genre time, right? So Miss Patty Arbuckle is going to be making many appearances on this series, and I'm very pleased to meet you all. Hi, Elena. Hi, Eileen. Stephanie, David. Nice to see you guys all here. Thank you so much for coming in to support me today. I really appreciate you guys. And thank you everybody else for being here for part of this, for this special preview episode of The Thirsty Professional. So I wanted to give you all a little bit of a taste of what I have in store for this live stream in the coming months, why I'm doing it, what are we going to be talking about, and what I'm going to be looking for in guests. So if any of you are interested, stick around because we're going to be talking about what I'm looking for in guests because I really want to have guests. So, and also, if I'm being honest, I did need to test my LinkedIn Live and YouTube skills, which because I've not done this before. This is my first time going live on LinkedIn and YouTube. So I think, yay me, I think I got it. And I'm glad you guys are letting me know that you can see me. Thank you, Heidi, by the way, Heidi Medina, who has I learned so much about live stream from her talk program. And she's got an amazing group called The Collective on LinkedIn. And it is, oh my, so many things. I mean, it is training and teaching and collaboration and experts in so many different areas and a group and networking. If you are interested, look at The Collective or let me know. At the very least, you should be following Heidi because she's amazing. So, and she helped me a lot out with this setup here, which seems to be working great. So thank you, Heidi. And thank you all for your patience if anything glitches. I've got three leaf blowers across the street right now. I've ranted about my neighborhood. They have a lot of money to spend, and so they like to spend it on yard work. But anyway, if you are watching live, could you please let me know, in the comments where you're from, and most importantly, what are you drinking today? I've got my hot coffee because it is colder than a witch's tit here out in, and look, it's a raw show. I'm gonna swear, so if anybody doesn't like swearing, you probably shouldn't be here. But hot coffee for me today because it's cold. If you're watching the replay, please give me a hashtag replay. And of course, if you have any questions or feedback or comments, throw it in the comments, or send me a DM. I will periodically check the comments here. Um, okay, thank you, Mark. I appreciate the feedback that my mic is fluctuating a little bit. Okay, so you know what? Let me go real quick here if you guys don't mind and see if I have it on auto. You learn something new. I do not see. Let me go to my advanced. I'll try turning off the auto gain control. I don't know if that's, I don't really have just an auto level. So let me know if that helps or hurts, and I will adjust. Hey, Mike Goggin, one of my favorite bosses and just people ever. Stella, yay, my friend Stella. All right, let's go here. So first, I want to start with why am I doing this series, and I think you can best illustrate this a little bit by just giving you a little bit of my background and how I got to here. So I spent the first 23 years of my career in a traditional professional job. I was in the tech sector. I worked for a number of corporate consulting firms. And I worked with a lot of amazing people. And I had, with one exception, I had really good direct bosses. But I did encounter quite a bit of, I'll say, corporate bullshit over those decades. Shitty leaders, chaos, too much to do, horrible processes, assholes galore, no emotional intelligence, a lot of stress. You name it, I've seen it all. And I know a lot of you out there have also experienced corporate hell. If you are still in it, my condolences. I salute you. I give me a hell yes if you're a current corporate person. So in my later years in corporate, all of this corporate crap really started to impact me a lot more. So much so that about 5 years ago, I wrote a book, Where the Hell's My Bacon? About the reality of corporate life. And I started a podcast where I ranted about corporate life. And then I wrote another book about the reality of shitty leadership because those things needed to be called out. And I was compelled. It was a calling. I wanted it to be better, but not for just for me, but for the people around me. So it was not something I really felt like I could control. I feel like I had to kind of speak out. Also, about 5 years ago, I began my journey in pursuing more creative endeavors. Like, it was kind of like a side gig for a few years, but writing books, podcasting, blogging, unofficially coaching. And those pursuits brought their own challenges and lessons like chaos, assholes, and stress. Same thing, right? Shocking. So, a little over a year ago, I lost my job. My position was eliminated, and I made the decision to not go back to full time traditional corporate type of a job at all. And that was not an easy decision because corporate money is good, especially in tech. It was a big hit for my family income. But like a lot of people who are in traditional professional jobs, at a certain age, I started to feel a few things that were not pleasant. And these things just drove me more to want to speak out more, and now eventually here to this series, The Thirsty Professional. Things like I felt like I wasn't valued by management anymore. And I knew that if I were to go back into that as a middle-aged woman, I would be walking back into the fire. The ladies out there understand ageism happens to men and women. It just happens to women earlier and differently. And this is a show about being raised, and women do get treated differently. It's just a fact. And I knew I'd seen it. I had seen it as a manager with other women and other people, and I've seen it just as an employee, how people were treated as they get older. I've written about it, I podcasted about it, and now I was it. So I didn't have the stomach to go back. And I know a lot of you can relate. I hear from so many people who are losing their jobs and just struggling because they are of a certain age, and it's just harder. You get treated differently. Second thing is I didn't feel like I was making a difference anymore. So I got probably into my maybe mid-40s, and then money started becoming less important, and fulfillment and purpose and making a difference became much more important, and that's just continued. Yeah, as Heidi as a woman in general. Um, we do get treated differently. That's just a fact. So I needed to make a difference, and that hasn't gone away, so that's why I've been pursuing some of these creative endeavors. And then the third thing is once I got out of that corporate stress, that chronic stress, I finally realized how bad it really was. Like, I had no idea. I'm an aware person. I think about these things. I knew I was under stress. I knew I was under a lot of stress, but I had no idea the magnitude of stress that I was under until I got out, decided not to go back, and then let it go. And so that was a big factor. So I made the decision to not pursue another full-time corporate consulting job and instead to be my own boss. Yay! And I know we've got some entrepreneurs, business owners, self-employed folks out there, and feel free to put a contact link in your comments because I'm all about sharing. You never know who's gonna need your service, so let's, collaborate and share. So, let me do a quick check here. Good, looks like my audio is better. Thank you so much for that feedback. Portugal, I gotta get to Portugal, Sweden, Poland. I'm a quarter Polish, so there you go. Ooh, chamomile with ginger, that sounds good. Drinking water, Heidi, very healthy. I love it. All right. Oh, hey, Mark. Well, you know what? Hey, look, there were a lot of great things about corporate. And congratulations, by the way, on starting your job. And as I said earlier, I had great people that I worked with, and I had great immediate bosses for the most part. Um, so, and probably for the first 10 years, I would never have left for anything. So, there are, I don't want to like say that every corporate job is crappy, but over time, some of them are. And I just happen to be in a few where that were. Yes, Sweden. Woo, Sweden. Um, Over the years, so I'm just gonna jump back in here. Over the years, I have built, as is illustrated by my amazing comments here, a network of people that belong in both worlds, traditional jobs, corporate jobs, and business owners and entrepreneurs. And as I've been kind of straddling this fence, that one side is this long professional career that I had, and the other is this 5-year ongoing journey to be my own boss. I started wanting to find a way to mesh the 2 because you guys have so much we have so much in common. I'm a part of both worlds, I've been a part of both worlds, and there's a lot of overlap, and I really wanted to speak and to bring wisdom from both of those worlds. So in September of this year, I did a 30-day live on Facebook. It was initially geared just mainly towards corporate professionals, right? I was at the time I was pursuing career coaching and, hey, Jatsna from London, my Jatsna. So I did this live series, and it just so happened that a lot of the topics that I was, talking about were mindset because I've been doing a lot of work on my own mindset, how the energy that I put out there and how I change myself from within, because it is important to everything we do, certainly our careers and our success. And what became really clear during this 30-day live is that all of the things that I was learning and that I was trying to coach other people on, they're not exclusive to a traditional job or an entrepreneur career. They really transcend both. So that just reinforced my passion for finding a way to kind of, Spock mind meld my mind to your mind, both of these worlds. Thank you, Stephanie. Stephanie says it was an amazing series. I appreciate that, Stephanie. It was a great learning experience and a great way if anybody wants to do a live, just I'm gonna tangent here because I love doing lives. I didn't think I would because I've done a lot of, podcasting and you get to edit and you can, perfect it, but I really like lives because I'm one of those people that's too much of a perfectionist, so I appreciate that, the live kinda gets me out of my comfort zone, and it is a really good practice, especially if you're gonna do speaking. I mean, you're basically doing the speech when you go live, so anyway, so, bottom line is I started The Thirsty Professional because I am passionate about finding fulfillment, about following purpose, making the best of our lives and our careers, regardless of whether we're our own boss or we have a traditional job. And I wanted to talk about these things in a fun and entertaining way, and I mean, that's partly why I've got the hat on, 'cause I just wanna be just a little fun and lighthearted. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I feel like there's a lot of great wisdom out there that gets lost in the weeds, and by that, I mean, there are so many experts, they get into the nitty-gritty details of what they do and how they help people and how you can get more lead magnets or increase your YouTube subscribers or make a better video or whatever it is, and all of that is great. It is great. I have learned so much. There's a wealth of information out there, but I also feel like sometimes something gets missed. Like, we get a lot of practical advice and tips and checklists, but we don't get that deep wisdom, and that wisdom, as opposed to the how-tos and, like, here's how you do it things, that's what I wanna tap into here because that can help almost anybody in any situation. So things like your big failures and recoveries, the wild moments that you never expect, the assholes who piss you off and how do you deal with them? We've all encountered them, or the people that blow your mind and helped you profoundly, like, so many people have people that have like, "Oh my god, if I didn't meet this person." What people wish that they had, known when they started whatever it is they started and what they would do differently now, like, really, like, if you had a magic wand, what would you do differently? What would you change? What sucks? What scares people? Because I know people stuff scares people, but sometimes you don't get that. Also, what excites them, really keeps them going and why they do what they do. So these are the kinds of insights that are just as valuable as the tips and tricks and can be really helpful to a lot of people. Just doing a real quick check here. We got some we're talking about Portugal. I know, you're making me wanna go, Heidi. I know, get out there. So the other reason why I kinda wanted to start this, is that there are a lot of series out there that, if I'm being honest, it can get a little bit dry. So I don't know if any of you feel like this, like, sometimes you're watching and it's really great information, but you're just bored because maybe the person's monotone or they're just I don't know, it just goes on and on and on. For me, it's kinda like that movie, I don't know if any of you have ever seen, It's a Wonderful Life, with Jimmy Stewart, Donna Reed. It's like I know I'm gonna people are gonna probably leave when I trash this movie. I'm not gonna trash the movie. It's a beloved classic Christmas movie. It's a Wonderful Life. It's got a great message. I bawl at the end every time, "Every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings." It's heartwarming, but it's a little long in the tooth. It's a little there's probably a good hour that they could remove, and it would have been, just as good as a movie, maybe add some background music or breaking things up. Anyway, so I just tend to respond to information that's presented in a more fun and, entertaining way. And I also see a lot of filtering out there, not representing reality. Like, people say that they can get you to 6 figures in a month, but, then they, are homeless or can't pay their bills, right? I don't wanna sugarcoat anything. I want you, the audience, I want you to be enlightened, I want you to connect with the wisdom of others, unfiltered, raw, and with profound transparency. So, because that's how I am, and that's, from my corporate life and all of my adventures, that's led me to here. I just like transparency. So I'm gonna take a quick break here and check the comments. No way you're about to I don't hate it. I actually love the movie, but so my husband had never seen it, and I wanted him to watch it because I thought it was so good, but, I actually felt a little guilty when I made him watch it because it's long. It is long, and it's just a little like, "Okay, move it along," and I get it for the time. It was, we're just used to something different nowadays, but so I'm not crashing on it, Mark. I love It's a Wonderful Life. I just think it could be an hour less long. That's all I'm saying, because there's a little bit of dryness in there. Anyway, okay, so what are we gonna talk about on The Thirsty Professional? First of all, I'm looking for guests on this series. I've already lined some of you up for this. I've said this a million times. I don't like talking to myself. I would prefer to have guests. I love the energy, I love the banter. So I wanna have more often than not having guests on this series. So what am I looking for? I only have one, hard and fast criteria, is that I'm looking for people who are willing to be transparent, candid, and authentic. ridiculously blunt, don't care, that's cool. Yeah, is the more transparent and the more candid about what your struggles are, what your desires are, or what excites you, et cetera. That's my only one hard criteria. Beyond that, I love people with energy and passion about what they do. People who have been working on their mindset, manifestation for your career or your passion. I've been doing a lot of work. I love talking to people about it. I love, delving into, how other people are, working on their mindset and what they have done and because I think it's just so important for everything that we do. Anybody who has a good stories about what brought them to here. Heidi Medina, looking at you because you have such an amazing journey, and so many of you do. It's not, the destination is one thing, and that's in itself can be, excuse me, an amazing story. But so many of you have like the journey to get to where you got to here is even better. I love people who are a little edgy, a little out there, speak their mind, a little quirky. Love that. Or somebody who has a unique career or passion. And that doesn't mean you have to have a unique career or passion. Um, common careers can be super interesting, but if you're out there thinking, I do something a little weird," yeah, but please, look it up. And you don't have to check all the boxes. Again, my hard criteria is, uh, being transparent and candid. So if any of you guys think that you might enjoy a lively conversation about careers, purpose, fulfillment, mindset, you don't mind a swear word or 2 or 20, you don't have to swear, but I probably will. I'll I'll drop an F-bomb at least once an episode, which I might have to do just to get it in. But if that sounds like you and you're interested, please send me a DM. I'm gonna be starting my guest list up for 2025. Just have a chat and see if you're a good fit. Um StreamYard for bringing in guests. I was looking at StreamYard. Yes, Stella, you're already on my list. Mark, so you're saying you've heard of StreamYard. Yeah, Restream, I think, does the same thing. So I'm on Restream right now per, Heidi's recommendation because for free, I can, stream both on YouTube and on, LinkedIn. And I really wanted to do that. So if I decide I at some point wanna go with a paid version, maybe I'll reevaluate, but right now I'm testing out Restream. Okay, so, what are some of the topics that I'm gonna cover in this series? Well, we're definitely gonna be talking about mindset, working on ourselves, again, working from within to change how we navigate the world, energy we put out into the world, because we have so little control of things out there, but we have a lot of control on ourselves. And we are sometimes kind of our own worst enemy. So we're gonna talk about things like self-image. And if you're challenged in any area of your life, self-image is probably a part of, what you're dealing with. Gratitude. Yes, gratitude in your career, even if you're in corporate, like, you might think, "What am I grateful for?" I did sometimes. What am I grateful for? Gratitude is a great way to combat negative energy, and I've really embraced gratitude. Discomfort and failure. Mike Goggin and I, had an episode of my podcast where we talked about discomfort and failure. It's one of my favorite things to talk about because it's really coming to the forefront now, but I think so many people are coming into the world and into adulthood who don't know how to deal with failure or to be uncomfortable, and it's showing, and I think it's an important topic. Again, we're gonna talk about how we're our own worst enemies because we do things like we sabotage, our own efforts, making assumptions about someone's intent, making up stories about a situation that don't help. We're gonna talk about taking ownership of our mistakes. We're gonna talk about letting go of negative energy, which I see a lot um, in career life where people just have trouble letting go of things. So many more mindset things. Stella, thanks for joining. I shall talk to you later. Thanks for coming in and supporting. I'm also gonna talk about practical things like goals. And I know a lot of people hear goals, and they go, "Oh, goals." Goals are important, but what's more important is how you can connect to your goal on an emotional level. And I've been doing some work lately with really getting to the deep, deep core of why I want to complete and achieve my goals, and it's really been eye-opening, and looking forward to sharing that with you. We're gonna talk about how to deal with assholes. Whether you are talking about a management team or executives or your clients, if you're an entrepreneur, everybody deals with assholes. We need to know how to deal with them. What happens if you leave your traditional job, and how do you prepare? And then what's on the other side? Like for me, creative endeavors and entrepreneurship, but, what is it for you? How to communicate what it is that you do. I've learned so much from, again, Miss Heidi Medina about communicating what it is that we do, and yet I even still get challenged with how to accurately and adequately express that in a meaningful way. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. We're gonna talk about working from home challenges, because whether you're a business owner or you're a traditional employee, the challenges are the same. We all have challenges. Maybe we'll talk about, trust, and should you trust your boss, and what if you're an entrepreneur, should you trust yourself if you are your own your own boss? Um, so Elena's asking, I'm just gonna take a pause here. Elena's asking, Beth, do you want people who already have some success and they'll reflect on their journey, or they could be people who are at the beginning of the journey? I don't care. Honestly, Elena, as somebody who has been, at least in the entrepreneurship area, at the beginning, not an expert, and also I have a lot of things that I dabble in, so my inner voice comes in and says, it doesn't matter to me. If you have energy, you wanna be transparent about your challenges and your successes, and bring your wisdom, because even if you're just at the beginning of that journey, there's something before that, right? You have that wisdom that you can bring. So it doesn't matter to me. You can be like the top expert in your endeavor, or a CEO or whatever, or you can be somebody who's just starting out and maybe you just want to share what that's like. I did share a lot of with the world about what it was like for me when I was starting out and sort of thing. So great question, and either or, it's fine. All right, what else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about health from top to bottom: physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, things like brain fog. Um, just so prevalent, especially as we get older. Chronic stress, talked about that a little bit. Ageism, talked about that too, how it impacts us, because it does. How what we eat, I can't wait for this episode, how what we eat affects passion. I am probably like the number one expert in what I put in my mouth impacts, the older I get, impacts my energy, my mood, my motivation, and my, physical whatever. And so it's something we need to talk about in the context of our purpose and our fulfillment in our career. We're gonna talk about inner critic. Mine's name is Liz. Sometimes I have to tell her to shut the fuck up, and sometimes I have to tell her I have to nurture her, 'cause she means well. So there, I did it. I got my F-bomb in. And I'm gonna talk about the importance of taking time for ourselves, which a lot of us don't do. I just had a post recently out about that, about how God, we know it helps us, and it's so hard because we always think that we have something else that needs to be done. So much more we're gonna talk about, and you, as my guest, will talk about. If you have any topic ideas that fall into the genre of careers, purpose, fulfillment, mindset, please drop them in the comments, or, Maria Elena, welcome. Being transparent as a transparent. See, that's what I'm talking about, like, unique. You have a very unique passion. And so, yes, well, you're on my list already. Anyway. So, yes, all that stuff. It's all relevant to us and our success, our purpose, our fulfillment, and our careers, our lives. So, yes, great question. We will talk about, you will come on and we will talk about being parent as a transparent. I love it. Play on words. So yeah, if you have any ideas, throw them in there in the as Maria Elena just did, and give me your ideas, because I get a lot of ideas from my network. In fact, arguably, I don't know if I have an original thought out there because I have so many great people, but I want us to get real about what you want to get real about. So let me know if you have any ideas for topics. Okay. Let me make sure I don't have any other questions. Okay. Okay, so I think that's a wrap. Thank you for joining the Thirsty Professional. If you are watching on LinkedIn, please make sure, I would love it if you would connect. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe, please. It will help me so much. If you have any questions or feedback, leave them in the comments or send me a DM. If you know anybody who is tired of corporate rat race and loves bacon, copy of my book, Where the Hell is My Bacon? Out there on Amazon and Ingram Spark. Next week, First official episode, we're gonna dive into, our first, official topic, which is how are you showing up at your work, whatever your work is? And I don't mean, like, are you wearing something inappropriate on a Zoom call? Although, I have a little story about that, so I'll share that next week. And how you dress can be a part of that. It can be a part of how you show up. But I'm talking about things like attitude, your confidence, your outlook and your projection of your energy. Are you positive, negative? How are you treating people? And yes, it's about appearance, like, can I see a little bit too much of your taco meat chest hair, Mr. Vice President, in the elevator with your shirt unbuttoned almost to the navel? True story. I'll talk about that one too. Yeah. Ugh. Anyway, thank you for joining the Thirsty Professional, and I'm just looking to make sure there are no more comments. Thank you again for being here. Thank you for supporting me. I love you guys, and thank you for getting real about your career, your purpose, and fulfillment. Miss Hattie Arbuckle and I now bid you farewell until next week. Take it easy, everybody.